with that being said, we are applying now our knowledge on how we apply FIFO to calculate the cost of the inventory. Okay, so from here, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Can you see my screen? I think, Michelle, you're having a reverb feedback.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, let's see. Okay, much better. All right, so here is exercise 5.1. All right, we're going to be looking at our very first exercise right here, which is going to be pretty much us calculating our inventory purchases, and then we're going to figure out at the end of the day how much items do we sold and how do we cost it. So in this case, let's get started. What happened on April 5th? Let me make it a little bigger for you guys. What happened on April 5th?
Okay, April 5th, we did the purchase of 1,000 units
Mm-hmm.
at $5 each with a freight of $100.
Okay, so now we're going to be introducing to you the inventory worksheet. So this is the periodic inventory worksheet, right? The most majority of it right here is going to be your purchase expenses. So this is where you calculate your purchase expense. And then as I've mentioned before, we're going to be introducing to another small section here on the right, which is your inventory on hand. This is only used if you have beginning inventory. In this case, we're starting from fresh. So, let me make it a little bigger so everyone can see. Okay, so you said that on April 5th, we bought 1,000 units at $5 each.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so let me go ahead and format these. So we got it for $5 each, and freight was $100. Okay, so if you guys remember, what is the formula to solve for purchase price?
The purchase price is the unit price times the quantity.
Good.
So
Okay.
$5,000. Oh,
Good. Nope. That's right. $5,000.
Okay.
And then what is the formula, or how do I calculate my total cost?
So your total cost would be your purchase price plus your freight.
Good.
5,100.
5,100. And how do I solve for my cost per item?
So the 5,100 divided by 1,000.
5,100 divided by 1,000, and how much?
$5.10.
$5.10. That's how much it's gonna cost me to sell one item. All right. Out of my batch of 1,000, each item I sell is gonna cost me $5.10. Okay. Now, here's one thing that a lot of students would think to do. They would just move it right into inventory. Not this case, because we haven't reached the end of the period yet. We haven't done our conversion yet. So we leave, again, our inventory on hand alone. All right. All right now we're doing is we're just looking at our purchases in general. Okay. So then what happened on April 10?
Okay. April 10th, we purchased 750 units at $5.75 each, and the freight was $75.
Okay, so back to my inventory worksheet. I'm going to recognize that on April 10, I purchased 750 items at $5.75 each, and my freight was $75. Okay, so again, how do I solve for my purchase price?
So the purchase price would be the 750 times $5.75 each times 2 for $4,312.50.
Good. So as you know, I am using Excel, and what I'm doing is I'm just entering in simple formula. I'm entering in just the way it is. I activate my activate my formula with an equal sign, and I'm literally doing quantity times, which is your asterisk, my unit price, and that's how I am doing that. Okay, straightforward. No real formula here. All right, and then how do I solve for my total cost?
Okay, so the $4,312 and
Mm-hmm.
50 cents plus $75 is $4,387.50.
All right, and how much is going to be my cost per item here?
Okay, take the total cost and divide it by the 750, which is $5.85.
$5.85 even. Okay, so good. All right, what has happened next on April 20th?
I'm sorry. No, I figured we're both in the class, we may as well share. Can you hear me?
Is everything all right, Michelle? You sound very like your internet is either shaky or
I'm here.
okay. Yeah, but you're very, 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 very tiny. As in, it sounds like you're on the phone, like super far away. No.
All right, well,
Okay, you sure? Cause I can still hear you, but I just have to.
no, it's okay, because I already went through and did one.
That's right. You did do it. Yes, you did.
I'm with just listening, so,
All right.
all right.
Okay, so Robin, go ahead.
So April 20th, you said, yes.
Yes.
Purchased 200 units
Mhm.
at $6 each,
Mhm.
and the freight was $20.
Okay. So again, back to my inventory worksheet. So I'm on April 20th. Okay. And this time I have 200 items at $6 and my freight is $20. So what is my total purchase price here?
So the 200 times $6 each is $1,200 even,
Good?
okay? And then plus the $20 freight for the total cost of $1,220.
Good?
And then the total cost divided by 200 is $6.10.
Perfect. So we got $5.10 and $6.10. Cool. All right, what has happened on April 25th?
Okay, April 25th, purchased 500 units at $6.25 each, with freight cost of $50.
Perfect. So we purchased on April 25th 500 items at $6.25 each, and my freight is $50. Okay, so what's my purchase price going to be for April 25th?
500 times $6.25 is $3,125.
Good. And my total cost is going to be?
The 3125 plus 50 is $1,375.
Good. And my cost per item is going to be?
$6.35.
$6.35. All right. And what does the last segment say here?
Okay, it says April 30th, you have 600 units on hand.
Good. All right. 600 units on hand. So that's going to tell me that at the end of my inventory, right, I'm going to have $600 items left on hand. So in this case, I'm going to have my ending balance is going to be 600. All right. So this is where we're going to be looking at completing this top portion, and then this is where I complete the second half down here. So let's go ahead and do what's first. Okay, so we need to total up our columns, okay? So I'm going, you've used Excel before, correct? So this is just a refresher. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to enter in equal sum. Okay, so my total amount is going to be $24.50. Okay, so what is my total purchase price then? I'm going to have to total up the column here.
Total purchase price is $13,637.50.
Good. Okay, I don't need that one. And then what is my total freight expense? Or what's my total freight?
Freight is $245.
$245. Good. And then what's my total cost?
Total cost is $13,882.50.
Good. 13,882.50 is going to be our total. And in this case, we need to have our segments completely separate. So here I made a total of 4 purchases in the order as you see right here. So I have the 5th, the 10th, the 20th, and the 25th. Okay. Now, okay, so now that I solved for this little segment here, I'm going to apply it to my net purchases. So, what was the total quantity I actually purchased?
Was the 2,450.
Good. And how much did it cost me to purchase without the freight?
That was the $13,637.50.
Did you? Okay, yes, 637. Good. Okay. I did not have any sales. I did not have any purchase returns or allowances, so I can go ahead and zero that out. Now, what you're gonna notice is on the left side, there's indicators on what you need to do. So in this case, I have my total purchases, right? I'm gonna subtract any of my returns and allowances, okay? And my subtotal is going to equal that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 242,450 and I'm going to subtract my 0 to get me 2450. Same thing is going to apply on this side. I'm going to equal, I'm going to do my 13,637.50, subtract my 0, which gives me my 13,637.50. Okay. Now it's going to ask me to add my freight. Again, freight does not increase the quantity, so you can assume your freight is going to be 0. However, I have to increase my total cost, all right? And what is my freight going to be?
It's the $245.
$245. And again, looking at this little little hint right here, it's going to tell me I need to add. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these two numbers together, and I'm also going to add my 13,637 to my 245 to get me a grand total of 13,882.50. Okay, and this is equal to what I see above here. It is reflecting. Okay. Now, the next portion I'm going to do is, now that's my total net purchases, okay? And in this case, we did not have any beginning inventory, right? We started off with 0, so therefore, we don't have anything to add. I'm going to bring down my net purchases, which is from here, all right? So I'm basically going to find out my total cost of goods available, which in this case, we didn't have beginning inventory. So that means whatever I had purchased originally is going to be my answer here, because that's what it started out with, and that's what is going to be my goods available. Okay, so now we are finally reached down to the bottom of my section here. let's go ahead and solve for the cost of goods sold. If I started out with 2,450 items and I have 600 remaining, how many items did I actually sell?
3,050.
Say that again?
3,050.
That's how many items I sold?
Sorry.
Okay.
Doing the, oh, ending. Sorry.
Yeah, so in this case, if I started out with 2,450 and I had someone go down to the basement and tell me there's only 600 left, how many items did I actually sell?
$1,850.
1,850. Good. All right. And this is where this portion right here is very crucial for you to pay close attention to, because this is where everything's going to look a little complicated and you're going to have to do some calculations. Okay. So in this case, I know that I need to end up with 1,850 as my total sum of items I've sold. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my formula here so that I know how many items I need to sell. So I'm going to apply the formula here, and I'm just going to just copy down a couple lines. And so this is going to be pretty much what's going to keep track of how many items I sell. Okay? Okay? So what do I mean by that? All right. Now we're going to be looking at how we cost it. So in this case, we're doing FIFO, which is the first in or first to go. So in this case, I have a total of 4 batches, right? Okay. I need to sell 1,800 units, right? So I'm going to look at my batches, right? Where am I going to start? Am I going to start from the top or am I going to start from the bottom?
Well, this is first in, first out. So
Mhm.
the top.
So here we recognize that we're going to start from the top and make our way down to the bottom, right? Because that's the rule of first in are usually the first batches out. So in this case, my first batch is for 1,000. Is that enough to sell 1,850 units?
No.
No, but it definitely. Am I going to eliminate this batch?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, you are. Am I going to use all of it or only some of it?
No, you'll use all of it.
You're going to use all of it. So in this case, I know that I need to recognize that I'm going to sell out the whole entire first batch right here that I originally bought on the 5th, right? And because we know that we're going to be taking out the whole thing, we don't need to calculate it, right? Because we know that that whole entire thing is going to cost me $5,100. Okay, but for the sake of knowing where we got this piece of information from, I'm going to go ahead and copy the unit price up in here for the $5.10, just so that we know where we grabbed this batch from, right? But we know that it's going to give me a grand total of $5,100. Okay, so now that I've sold 1,000 items, how many more do I need to sell? You need 850 more. So what's the next batch that we're going to take out of? 750, right? We need to sell 850, right? So are we going to take the whole batch of 750 or just only some of it?
We'll take the whole batch of 750.
We're going to take the whole batch of 750. So in this case, we're going to take the whole batch. And because we know that we're going to take the whole batch, we don't need to calculate. We know that the whole batch for 750 is going to cost me $4,387.50. But I'm going to make sure I know where I got that from. Okay? So now I have a grand total of sold is 1,750. How many more items do I need to sell?
100.
You need 100 more. Good. So now which batch am I going to be taking from this time?
We'll take from the batch of 200.
We're going to take the batch of 200. Now, here's the question. Am I going to take all of the 200 or only a portion of the 200?
Taking only 100.
We're only taking 100. So therefore, this is where we need to utilize our cost per item, right? So in this case, I'm not taking all of it. I need to make sure I sell each individual ones. So in this case, I'm taking out 100. But how much is it going to cost me to sell one item?
It's $6.10.
$6.10, right? Because we need to include the freight as well. We're not going to separate the cost there, right? There's no purpose for us to calculate a new cost per item if we don't need to include the freight. So in this case, we want to make sure that we cover our entire cost. So this was for $6.10. All right, actually, wait, I'm going to copy this from up here. Okay, make it look cleaner. Okay, so by knowing that I have it's going to cost me $6.10 each. How much am I going to know how much I actually sold? All right, what is going to be my cost here in the total of all 100 items?
Is $610.
It's going to be $610. Okay, so boom, I have here my entire quantity of 1850 right here, right? And if I add up the totals of my cost here, this is going to be my the total cost of my cost of goods sold is going to be right here. So I sold a total of $10,097.50. Okay. All right. Now, working backwards, if I have $13,882.50 available, and I've already sold my $10,097.50, how much is going to be remaining?
And I'm sorry, can you repeat those numbers to me?
That's fine. If we started out with our grand total of $13,882.50 and we've sold a total of $10,097.50, what is my total ending balance?
My phone calculator is not cooperating, so hold on 1 second, sorry.
No worries.
$3,785.
Yes, we're going to take the top number and we're going to subtract our cost of goods sold to get our ending inventory of $3,785. Okay. Yay, good. All right. Okay, so now the question number 2 is going to ask you to journalize the conversion entry using the information from above. All right, so because we've calculated all of this information, right, we have our total purchases, we have our total freight, we have our ending balance in our inventory, and we have our cost of goods sold. So now we could go ahead and complete our journal entry. So in this case, we're doing it for April 30th, right? Because it's at the end of our period, which is going to be April 30th. So what's my debit account going to look like? I'm converting from an expense into inventory.
Okay. So it will be from purchase expense.
Okay, so we're moving from purchase expense into inventory. So in this case, what is my inventory? What did I buy?
Product.
Oh.
What do you do? What's
What did I buy? What did I make purchases of?
Units, I don't see what they are.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So in this case, because I don't have a specific item I bought, we're just going to safely assume, well, I made purchases of inventory.
Okay.
Good. Okay. And
Inventory or inventory purchase?
it just inventory. Because inventory purchases, I mean, okay, if I'm taking my purchase expense, right, and I'm going to convert it into inventory, what is inventory?
It's an asset.
It's an asset. So is inventory purchases a type of asset that you can claim?
Yes.
In this case, no, you cannot claim inventory purchases as your inventory. Like it has to be a specific type of item. Because that's what inventory is, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. So in this case, what am I going to place here in my inventory?
Let's see here. All right, this is where I'm not sure. So
Okay.
I'm not sure if you're replacing the whole.
Well, let's think about it. We made purchases, right? How many items did we purchase in total?
The 13,882.50.
Okay, so that's the total amount, okay? I'm looking for the quantity.
Oh,
How many
wait.
items? Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. Sorry, could you repeat how many items?
How yeah, just go ahead and just answer that question and it will make sense after that.
450.
2450. Do we still have the 2450? No. What happened to it?
We sold it.
We sold it. So how much items we have left in inventory?
50.
Say that again?
1850.
Yeah, 1850 is what we sold.
Ending balance is 600, correct?
Yes, ending balance is 600. So therefore, if I'm converting my purchases and I'm transferring it into my inventory, the first thing that you're going to recognize is what do you actually still have? And the answer would be the 600 units. But what's my cost of that value?
That is $3,785.
$3,785 is correct. So that's going to be your debit account for this amount, 3785. Okay? And I'll just go ahead and give it this one to you so then so then when we go into the next one, it will make more sense. So because we know that we no longer have the full 2,450 items, what happened to it? We sold it, right? And that's exactly what we calculated. We calculated the total cost of goods sold, right? And what was that value amount for?
That was the 10,097.50.
Good. It was for the total of the 1097.50. Okay. Now I'm gonna ask you a question. If we're moving from a purchase expense and we're transferring everything out of the inventory, right? How do we take it out? Let me ask that question again. I'm trying to zero out an account. Okay. If I originally placed my items in my inventory expense account, how do I remove it?
Let's see. I'm not exactly sure what type of account. I know it's a contra account because you want the opposite action, right?
Okay, we're not decreasing. Okay. We're not going to be using a contra account for this one.
Okay.
Okay, we're literally taking our purchase expense and we're just going to empty it out into inventory. Think of it that way, like it's a bucket. If I've placed every single item in my inventory, in my purchase expense, how do I dump it out? How do I zero it out? Let me go ahead and give you a hint
Don't
here.
know which account that's going to be. I know it's got to be
Okay, okay. Let me ask this question again. Where did we place our items?
Accounts payable.
No. Where do we place these items?
inventory.
Not yet. Where did we place these items? This is exactly what we're doing. We're placing it into inventory. But what did we originally purchase the items on?
Your asset.
No. All right, let me go back. Okay. I gave you the scenario to make these purchases, correct? What account did I use to place them in?
Your purchase expense.
Purchase expense, right? Because that is what we do when it comes to periodic inventory, right? We don't recognize it right away as inventory. We recognize it as a business expense. So right now, your accounts is going to be purchase expense. And what else did we need to include? Or what else did we set? Good. Freight expense. Okay? Now, if I placed everything in there and I need to remove it, right? What was my total purchases I made? What was my total purchases I've made? And let me go back to the worksheet. What was the total purchases I've made?
So the total purchases without freight,
Without freight, correct.
is $13,637.50.
Good. And then what was my total freight again?
245.
245. Good. Okay? And so that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm zeroing out the account because I'm transferring and moving all 2,450 items out of my purchase expense. But in reality, I sold some of those items. So that's why we have two separate accounts. We're going to place whatever's remaining in my inventory, which was the 600 items. And I'm also going to recognize that I sold 1,850 items out of the 2,450. All right. Is it starting to piece together and make a lot more sense?
Yes, I'm sure the more I do this, the more it will sink in. But yes.
Okay. And then what's our general rule of thumb when we journalize?
You have to balance.
Yes. And in this case, do we balance? Okay, I don't need your expertise. Oh my gosh, what is going on? I just want to just equal the sum, not copy everything. So my question is, do they balance at the end of the day?
Yes, they balance.
I need to get a
Yes.
better calculator. Sorry, I keep bouncing off my phone, so my apologies. But yes,
No worries.
I have to go buy a calculator too, so.
yeah, I do. This phone is great, but it's not working for accounting purposes.
One, I would not buy a super small one. I would go back into it, I'd buy a bigger one.
Yeah, buying a regular 10 key.
Oh,
Good.
there you go.
Good. All right.
Better at it anyway. So yes, okay.
So yes, our accounts, they do balance at the end of the day. So at least we know that we're good to go. Okay? And that we successfully converted everything that we've accumulated in our purchase expense, and now we're doing we're adjusting our inventory by converting our expenses into inventory. All right. So we're doing two things at once. Not only are we moving from one account to another, but we're adjusting because we don't have the 2,450 items anymore. we sold some along the way. So that is exactly what we're doing. We're transferring the information into inventory and we're also adjusting it at the same time. Okay, so this is just example number 1. Let's go ahead and move on to example number 2 so that we can go ahead and practice this, right? So example number 2, example number 2, so question number 3 is going to say continue the inventory exercise. Your inventory method is periodic and it is FIFO. So on April 30th, you have 600 units on hand. So this is taking from our previous scenario. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead and look at that first. Well, I have 500 for sure because that was the last one that we purchased. And I should still have 100 remaining from up here, correct?
Right.
So I'm going to go ahead and transfer that information in my inventory on hand because remember, I actually placed it into inventory. So it exists in my inventory on hand. Okay? I'm still going to keep it separated, right? I got 100 and I have 500, right? To give me a grand total of 600 items. Okay? And from our previous example, we know that it cost me $6.10 for the batch remaining on April 20th. And I know that my last batch that I've purchased on the 25th of April is going to be for $6.35 each. So with that piece of given information, I'm going to apply it over here. So this is 610 and this is $6.35. And from here, you can multiply across so you have an idea of what you're dealing with. Okay? And with that being said, your total ending inventory should be for what you solved from the previous one, which is the $3,785. Okay? Okay? So that's what you do when you have beginning inventory. You're going to transfer the information as is and place it directly into your inventory on hand. Okay? So let's go ahead and let's solve for the rest of the problem. Okay? So, what happened on May 5th?
Okay, May 5th, we purchased 500 units at $6.25 with freight cost of $50.
So 50. So on May 5th, we had a total of 500 units at $6.25 each, and $50 was my freight. So what is my total purchase price here?
That's the $2,125.
Good. And my total cost here is?
$3,175.
Good. And what is going to be my cost per item?
It's $6.35.
So again, we have another $6.35. Okay? Now let's go ahead and look at the second one. So what happened on May 10?
On May 10th, was a purchase of 800 units
Okay?
at $6 each, with freight of $80.
Okay, so freight of $80. So in this case, oh, wrong one. So here, May 10, we have purchase of 800 items at $6 even, and my freight was $80. Okay, so what's my total purchase price here?
Purchase price is $4,800 even.
4,800 even. Good. And my total cost is going to be?
It's $4,880.
4,880. And my cost per item is going to be?
$6.10.
$6.10. Okay. And let's see what happened next. So What happened on May 20th?
20th, we purchased 300 units at $6.15 with a freight cost of $15.
So $6.15. Okay, so May 20th, we bought 300 items at $6.15, and my freight was $15. So what is my total purchase price here?
Is $1,845.
$1,845. My total cost,
Is a 1,860.
1,860. And what is my cost per item here?
$6.20.
$6.20. All right, what happened on May 25th?
May 25th, purchased 100 units at $6.30 each
Mm-hmm.
and a freight of $5.
Okay, good. So here on May 25th, we bought 100 items at $6.30, and my freight was $5. So what is my total purchase price?
Price is $630.
$630. Good.
And the total cost is $635.
Good.
And then price per unit or like cost per item is $6.35.
Good. All right. And what does the last piece of information say?
It says May 31st, you have 400 units on hand.
Good. So that means my ending inventory is going to be how much? How many items is my inventory? 400, right?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Now, with that being said, we are going to be looking at solving for the total net purchases. Okay, so what we got to do first? We got to add up our columns, right? So, what is the total quantity I have?
Quantity is 1,700.
1,700. Total purchase price?
Purchase price is $10,400.
$10,400. Okay, good.
Okay, total shipping or freight is $150.
Total shipping is going to be for $150. And what's my total cost going to be?
Is $10,550.
Good, 10,550. So I'm going to apply and plug in all my numbers here. So my total quantity I purchased was 1,700. My total cost was 10,400. Okay, I had 0 returns and allowances. So I can minus 0 to get me the same exact answer. Okay. How much was my freight?
$150.
$150. Okay. And then I'm going to add these columns together. So 1,700 plus 0 gives me 1,700. 10,400 plus 150 gives me 10,550. And here is my exact numbers to place. Now here is where it's going to change. Do we have a beginning inventory?
Yes, your 400 units that were on hand, right?
No, that's how much the ending balance is going to be.
Oh, sorry.
So did I have inventory from before?
Yes, sorry, the April 30th, the 600 units on hand.
Correct. I have 600 units on hand, right? So I'm going to. So how much did the 600 units cost me?
That was the 3,785.
Correct. I think I accidentally pressed the negative number there. So I'm going to come back for 600. Good. Good. Now, what do we know about our net purchases? What do I know about my net purchases? happened here?
Let's see here. Here, well, we'll add the 3785 to it, to the 10,550, right?
Right. So our net purchases, we're going to take it right from above, right? Because this is what we calculated from above. I have a quantity of 1,700, and my total cost of the 1,700 was the 10,550. Okay, and I'm going to add them together because this is going to be my total amount of goods available to sell. So in this case, if I add these two numbers together, what do I get?
The, what you have available to sell?
Exactly. So I'm going to add my beginning inventory plus the net purchases. So what is my total items I have available?
So total items available are 2,300.
2,300. And what is the total cost of those items available?
That's 14,335.
$14,335. Okay. Now, if I know that at the end of it, someone went physically down to the basement and they told you you have exactly 400 items left. So, in total, how many items did I actually sell?
1,900.
1,900 is correct. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and solve for one. So in this case, I'm going to solve for the cost of goods sold. Okay. So here, again, I'm going to apply my formula so I know how much I need to keep adding together in order to get to the exact number of amount of items I need to sell. Okay. So in this case, right, we are still dealing with FIFO, okay? We have our purchases here. However, because we have beginning inventory, you need to treat that as if this was the first batch that arrived before you could go ahead and start diving into your purchases. So, with that being said, I sold a total of 1,900 items. So, where am I going to take away first? Which batch am I going to take away from first?
Well, first the 100
Mm-hmm.
in the on hand, right?
Yes. Good. We're going to get rid of that whole entire thing, right? Our first 100 is going to be for the $610, right?
Right.
And in this case, I'm going to make sure I tell myself where I got this piece of information from. Okay. All right.
Then next you're going to take the 500.
Then next you're going to take the 500. Are we going to take the whole thing or we're only going to take a portion of it?
We're taking all of it.
We're taking all of it. So we know that we have 500 here. And we know that it's for $6.35 each. And we know that the whole entire thing is going to cost me $3,175. Okay. Now that we completely got rid of everything on hand, what are we also now that we've only sold a total of 600, now we could go ahead and start looking at our batches of inventory that we just purchased, right, in our purchase expense. So which batch are we going to pull out from first?
Okay. And I'm sorry, again, we're taking all together 1,900, right?
Yes, we only taken out so far 600.
So I still need 1,300.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll go ahead and take the 500,
Okay, are we taking all of it or a portion of it?
all of it.
We're going to take all of it. So another 500. All right, and we know we're going to take the whole thing, right? So we don't need to calculate anything. We just know that the whole thing is going to cost me $3,175. Okay. All right, batch 1 from our purchase expense is gone. Okay, and let's see how many items I have sold already. So I sold a total of 1,100. How many more do I need to get to 1,900? You need 800. So what does batch number 2 tell you?
That is what we're going to take, the 800.
We're taking the full amount or only a portion of it?
We're taking 800.
We're taking all of it, right? Because it's the batches for 800.
Correct. Yes.
So we're taking all of it. Okay, so 800. And because we know it's going to be for all of it, so it was for 610. And the total amount is going to be for the 4,880. Okay, so here I got my number, ding, 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 1,900 items sold. And if you add up all of these together, what is my total cost amount that I've actually sold?
$11,840.
11,840. Okay, so if that is how much I sold, right? And I originally started with $14,335. What is my total ending balance going to be?
2,495.
2,495 is going to be my ending balance at the end of this problem. Okay, good. Now, last but not least, question number 4 says, do the conversion entry using the following information from above. Okay, so we're going to do the conversion on May 31st. So I'll go back to my journal for you. It's a separate sheet. So here, I'm going to recognize May 31st. Okay, so what is going to be my conversion entry?
Alright, so is this also inventory? Well, the date of May 31st.
Mm-hmm.
Inventory.
Good. We're recognizing that we're converting to inventory. Good.
And that would be the credit amount, or excuse me, debit amount of the 2,495.
Correct. Because that's how much inventory I have in my ending balance. This is how much I'm actually transferring in total. Okay. What is my second account going to be?
And that will again be the cost of goods sold.
Good. And what's the total amount of my...
Be the 11,840.
Correct. Okay. All right. Now, what else do we need to recognize?
Purchase expense,
Purchase expense.
which will go in the credit column, and this is 10,100.
Okay, hold on.
Plus in the freight. Credit column of $150.
Freight expense. Okay, hold on. That you said 10,400, and this one was 150.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
All right. Go ahead and sum up the total because that's what you got to do.
I'm doing my math.
Oh, okay, I wasn't sure, I had to step away for a moment, so, all right.
Oh, okay. I'm confusing myself. So there's 2,495. So I'm not coming up with the same amount. What do I do?
Well, fine. What's the difference between them?
$3,785.
3,785. Now that number looks familiar, doesn't it? Where was that? What did that come from?
That was our inventory on.
That was our inventory on hand. All right. Now, which side are you going to place this 3,785?
That will go on the credit side.
Good. Okay. So now they should be even as far as now. It should be for 14,335. Now,
Category I call it is inventory on hand, right?
no. You don't put an inventory on hand. But this time, where did we actually place it? Where did we put this originally? Where is this coming from?
That is from the first ending balance. From the April 30th.
Good. Good. But where did we place it? Where did we put all these items in?
I'm not sure I understand that question.
Okay, so let's go back to our previous one here. Where did we put all of those items?
That went in inventory on hand.
Is the account inventory on hand?
No.
No. What is the account that we placed them all in?
The purchase expense. No.
No, this is okay. So look, this journal right here is converting it. So if my ending inventory is going to be for the $3,785, right? So it's currently in my inventory account, correct?
Right.
Now what do we know about the beginning of our inventory? Did we sell them out?
Yes, right?
Yes, we did. That's what we did in our equation right here. We got rid of our first 600 items in our batches. Now, how do you decrease inventory? How do you decrease inventory?
Cost, it wouldn't be cost of goods sold, that's what it is. No, I do not know that answer.
Okay. If I use a debit to increase my inventory, how do I decrease my inventory?
It'll be credit.
It would be credit. And that's exactly what you're doing. Because you got rid of the items and you're trying to you sold the items already, right? You're essentially moving from one account to another. Since you don't have those inventory items anymore, they don't exist anymore. So therefore, you need to credit the account. And we'll talk about this more when it will be more prevalent and makes a lot more sense when we dive into perpetual inventory. Okay? But in this case, that's what you need to memorize. If you have regular inventory, no beginning, you're going to recognize that you're going to make your conversion entry and you're going to dump everything into inventory and cost of goods sold, because in this case, we sold items along the way. Here, we had beginning inventory. And because we used the FIFO method, we also got rid of that ending inventory. Right? That's why we had to calculate the total amount of goods available. We had to calculate and combine our total purchases with our beginning inventory. So in this case, we're recognizing inventory as inventory, but in our heads, we know this is what we started off with. Okay? And the one that we're transferring over into the new inventory is going to be our ending balance, which is the amount that we had left after selling out all the items. Okay? So that's it for that. Let me see what time is it. See if we're good for a break. 2:30. So it's only been 1 hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get started with the second with the lesson.